That's right.
I know this
The United
region,
States is saber
and I
rattling.
do believe that it's critically important.
That's right. How dare we have a free and sovereign nation?
To North Korea, that
We're
talk
saber rattling
to
when
Syria, that we talk
try to target people
Iran.
like Osama bin
And it's
Laden
going
and
to take
Ahmadinejad.
skilled
Saber
diplomacy.
rattling.
And what we have in this administration is a policy of preemption, of saber rattling,
That's
of
right.
leaking out potential targets
If
in
you
Iran.
say saber rattling one more
That's
time,
not gonna
I'm
get
going to jump through this
diplomacy
screen
started.
and take your
And I
stupid
believe it's
necktie and
critical
choke
if
you to
we're gonna
fucking
resolve
death
the
with it.
situation in the Middle East, if we're going to get Iraq to stop Iran's helping terrorists, we have to engage them
Good luck.
vigorously,
Good luck.
potentially also with sanctions. And we need to get European allies.
That's right.
Who
The
refuse
sanctions worked against Iraq
generally to
so
help
well.
us with sanctions.
So well.
As well as
Saddam didn't get
Russia.
rich under the
and what you
oil
saw
for food
recently
scandal.
is Russia and Iran embracing each other. That is not healthy.
Congressman Kucinich, your opinion of this resolution?
Well, first of all, we need to adamantly reject any kind of
How
move
tall are
towards
you?
war with Iran. There's no basis for it whatsoever. But we have to realize, Tim, that we have a number
There's
of
no basis for
enablers who happen to be Democrats who have said,
Sure,
over the
you're a
last
viable
year, with
candidate.
respect
You
to
understand
Iran,
what's going on in the
all
world. There's no
options are
basis
on the
for a war with
table.
Iran.
And when you say all options are on the table, you are licensing President Bush. And I'm the only one up here on the stage who not only voted against the war in Iraq, voted against funding the war, but also led the effort against Bush's drive towards war. The problem is, these policies of preemption license a war. Preemption, by virtue of international law, is illegal. Our president has
Is it?
already violated
You're gonna
international
lecture us
law.
now on the law?
The war in Iraq is illegal.
The war in
Even
Iraq is
planning
not
for the
illegal.
war against Iran is
I go
illegal.
on with this
Tim, we're
already.
here in Philadelphia.
This
the
is
birthplace
not the
of democracy.
2004 election,
I want to
dummy.
know when this Democratic
Enough
Congress
with the we
is
stole
going
the
to
election.
stand up for
Enough.
the Constitution and
Enough
hold
with the
the
illegal
president
war.
accountable
Enough.
with
Stop it,
Article
you
2,
repetitive
Section 4,
dunce.
and Impeachment Act. I think that our
Impeachment
democracy
Act.
is in peril, and unless the
That's
Democrats
great.
and the Congress stand up for the Constitution, we are going to lose our country.
That's
We
right,
need to
because you
challenge
didn't
him
turn
on
to
this
Congress
war.
and say, give
We
me
need to
permission to
challenge
go to
him at
war,
his
and they didn't
core.
give him
And
permission.
the
It's
core is,
illegal.
there needs to be a separation of powers, a
We
balance
weren't
of powers.
backing Resolution
Things are out of
1441,
balance. It is
which
time
said,
for
give
us
up your
to
nukes
stand up
or
for
else.
the Constitution of
We
the
are
United
the or
States.
else of the world.
I want to ask each
Ah,
of
damn
you
right.
the same question. Senator
clap,
Clinton, would you pledge the American people that Iran will not develop a nuclear bomb while you are president?
I intend to do everything I can to prevent Iran from developing
Including
a nuclear
preemptive
bomb.
strikes?
But you won't pledge.
I am pledging I will do everything I can to prevent Iran
I
from
don't believe
developing
you.
a nuclear bomb.
I don't think you are capable.
But they may.
Well, you know, Tim, you asked me if I would pledge, and I have pledged that I will do everything
there, Tim,
I can
shut up.
to
I've
prevent
answered your question.
Iran from developing a nuclear bomb.
Senator Edwards.
What I will do is take all the responsible steps that can be taken to keep Iran from developing a nuclear weapon.
Senator Obama.
I think all of us are committed to Iran not having nuclear weapons. And so, you know, we could potentially short-circuit this. But I think there is a larger point at stake, Tim, and that is we have been governed by fear for the last 6 years.
Really? Have we been governed by fear when people on a daily basis call the President of the United States a liar, tell us that he went to war for oil to line his and Cheney's pockets for Halliburton?
We are seeing the
You
same
mean
pattern
that
now.
kind of fear?
We are seeing the
When we are told that the
Republican
President went
nominees
to
do the
war
same thing.
illegally and is killing
And
young
it is
Americans
very important
for
for
no
us
good
to
reason?
draw a
You mean
clear line
that kind
and
of fear? You mean the
say,
fear
we
that the
are
President of the
not
United
going to be
States is
governed by
listening
fear.
in on
We will
citizens'
take
phone calls?
what's
Meanwhile, in
very
Iraq,
important.
it
We
took
will
them
take
10
action to
hours
ensure that
of
the United
legal
States
mumbo
is secure.
jumbo to
As
try to
President of the United States, I will do
tap
everything
an
in my
Al-Qaeda
power to keep
operative's
us safe.
phone
But
to
what
save a
we
kidnapped
cannot
soldier.
continue to do is operate as if we are the
You
weakest
mean that kind
nation
of
in the
fear,
world
telling us
instead of
that
the
they're going to
strongest
look at your
one?
library
Because
records?
That's not who we are. And that's not
That
what
kind of
America
fear?
has been about
You
historically.
mean the fear of calling
and
us
it's starting
racist
to
for
warp
wanting a
our
solid
domestic
border?
policies as well.
That
We haven't
kind
even
of fear?
talked about civil liberties and the
what
impact
kind
of
of fear are you
that
talking
politics of
about?
fear, what that has done to us in terms of undermining.
You mean the
basic
fear
civil
of
liberties in
having
this
someone
country,
say,
what
I'm
it
going
has done
to
in
bomb
terms of our
Pakistan, but I'm going
reputation
to
around
leave
the world.
Iraq?
Senator Biden, would you pledge the American
I'm going to
people
bomb
that
our
Iran would
friends,
not build
but
a
I'm
nuclear
going
bomb
to
on your watch?
give up on our
Congress,
fighting our
keep us
enemies.
safe. If you told
kind
me,
of fear?
Tim, and this is complicated stuff. We talk about this.
This
in
is too
isolation.
complicated for the American
The fact
people.
of the matter is, the
This is
Iranians
way too
may get
complicated for you. This is
2.6
complicated stuff.
kilograms
Complicated
of
stuff.
highly enriched uranium.
Anybody that follows the word complicated with the word stuff is
thousands
a fucking idiot.
of kilograms of highly enriched uranium. If by attacking Iran to stop them from getting 2.6 kilograms of highly enriched uranium,
the government of
Complicated
Pakistan
stuff.
falls, who has missiles
You just say
already
shit,
deployed
what you really meant.
with nuclear
Complicated
weapons
shit.
on them that can already reach Israel, already reach India, then that's a bad bargain. Presidents make wise decisions informed not by a vacuum in which they operate, by the situation they find themselves in the world. I will do all of my power.
That's right, because
to
this
stop
president hasn't
Iran
faced
from
any
getting
people
nuclear weapons,
of
but I will
opposition within
never
his own
take
party.
my eye off the ball. What is
The head of the CIA, George Tenet, didn't come out of the book against him. He doesn't have continuous leaks about all sorts of things coming out of his administration with an unreliant CIA which keeps leaking information.
There's a deeper question.
He's surrounded by yes men.
This audience.
Nobody leaks anything out of that White House. The president isn't facing an onslaught from the Democrats, the Republicans, and his own administration.
It's a critical question.
Everybody who leads that administration writes a book against the president's policies. Colin Powell, George Tenet. He's surrounded by yes men.
What's going on in the Far East, as well as in Latin America and elsewhere. And which of us here brings the background, the experience, the ability to make a difference on these issues, including the question of Iran. I agree with Joe. I think the more immediate problem is one that needs to be addressed.
Kumbaya,
Bringing that experience together so that you're able to marshal the resources, put together a kind of team, and demonstrate as a result of what you've been able to accomplish over the years that you can actually handle this situation. Results matter. Experience matters. Having the demonstrated ability to deal with these issues is critical. So certainly I would make a pledge, obviously do everything we can to avoid this problem. But I would suggest to you, Tim, that the more immediate issue is the one exactly that Joe has identified here. Pakistan does pose
like
a more
the
serious
Israelis figured
issue
out that
to
they
this
have to
country,
do to
and
Syria.
one that needs to be addressed. That's
See,
why
they have a better press
I
over there.
negotiated the
The Israelis tell their press, shut the fuck up, they shut the fuck up for national security reasons. Unlike the New York Times in this country, which feels the need to bring to the public prisons that we may or may not have in foreign countries. Weaknesses in the armor of our Humvees.
To grapple with these issues.
Governor Richardson.
People who work for the Times getting CIA leaks
and it would be
from the president's own administration.
And what we're also
can't even
talking
figure
about
out
is
who in his own administration is leaking things, because a New York Times reporter
uranium, a loose
accepting
nuclear
leaks.
weapon,
Unlike
nuclear
Israel,
materials,
which
fissionable
preemptively
materials throughout the
struck
world, even
against
more
Syria.
of a threat
That's right, preemptively
than
struck against Syria and their nuclear
weapons
facilities.
Is a loose nuclear weapon crossing the border.
Where did Syria
So
get
what
these
we
nuclear
need
weapons?
is an
Well, if you
international
read George
agreement.
Saddam's book,
But the
Saddam's
key
Secrets,
has to be
Saddam Hussein.
diplomacy.
During an earthquake in
And
Syria,
I
Saddam Hussein
have
loaded up civilian
in the
jets by
fourth row,
pretending he
there's
wanted
a
to
man
help the
named
Syrians
Joe
and just
Barloon,
put all his
who I rescued
garbage
from an Iraqi
there and flew it down and hid it in
Abu
Syria.
Ghraib.
The
And it's
book
gonna take
is
leadership,
General
it's gonna take diplomacy,
by
it's gonna
former
take
Iraqi Air Force
negotiation.
General George
I went
Sadat.
head
The
to head
title
with Saddam
is
Hussein,
Saddam's Secrets.
And I brought 2 Americans out. Bill Barloon is one. And the greatest words I heard after
Speaking
I got
this
him
week,
out
by the
was,
way, in Minnesota.
thank you. And then I said, I'm taking you home. That's diplomacy. That means talking to the Irans, to the Syrians, to the North Korea. I've done it all my life as a diplomat, as a UN ambassador, as a special envoy, as a hostage negotiator.
How did that turn out?
I've got the most international experience here, with all due respect. There's a lot of good international experience.
Iran is building nuclear weapons.
But I've gone
North Korea ended up trying to build nuclear weapons.
In North Korea, and we got back.
Syria just got bombed by the Israelis because of the nuclear weapons that they were building.
We got the
So
North
how
Koreans
exactly
to
did your
stop
diplomatic
their
career
nuclear reactor? And so I believe it's
do
important
anything?
that we have a leader
Diplomacy
not just that can bring
leads
people
to more
together,
diplomacy, which
but can
leads to more
resolve
diplomacy,
some of the
which leads to more
thorniest problems
diplomacy.
we have.
Congressman Kucinich.
Eventually,
With all due respect
Need-
to our friends from the media here, the media itself has to be careful how you frame these questions. We don't want to put in a
you
position
need to be careful how you frame
where
these
we
questions to
are
us. We don't want to
taking
answer
this
these
country
questions
to the
because it makes us
threshold
look
of
bad.
war.
So
Media has
I
to play a
wave
role
my
in
finger
taking
at you,
us to war in
media.
Iraq
Don't the questions
because
because it makes us
the
look
threshold of
bad.
war.
So
Media has to
I
play a
wave
role
my
in
finger
taking
at
us
you,
to war in
media.
Iraq.
Don't ask
And I'm
me
urging
questions
members
that are
of the
very
media
direct. I mean,
to urge restraint
The American
upon you
people don't have a right
and
to
our
know.
president, whose rhetoric is out of
so
control.
how dare you, Tim Russell,
I would
ask
go
me
to
direct
Iran,
questions?
and I would urge Iran not just to not have nuclear weapons. I would urge them to give up nuclear power,
That's my
because
opinion.
nuclear power is the most expensive type of power
Really?
there is. It is not a sustainable type of power
Really?
because of the cost
Is
of it.
every single kind of
It is
nuclear power
unsafe.
Chernobyl?
I would urge Iran to give up nuclear power.
Or
But I would
only
also do